Hey everybody, Tim Norris here.
And Carmen Norris.
And today we're going to talk about games you might not be playing.
But you should.
Now today is Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, which is the mini version of Agricola itself. If you're not familiar, you have Agricola, which is this big box with all these expansions, and then you have Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, which is a specifically designed two-player game.
But you can play this one without knowing how to play Agricola. Don't let that turn you off.
It's fun size.
It's all about animals. Your goal in this fast two-player game is to have the most animals. To keep these horses, cows, pigs, and sheep, you need to build stables and fence in pastures. Expanding your farm, building feeding troughs, and special buildings are key to your success. After 8 turns, points are tallied. Who will be the most successful farmer? Each player is going to start with 1 farm board, 9 borders, and 3 workers.
Now that you have all your pieces, it's time to set up the play board. Let's take a look at that now. These little bitty red arrows signify the amount of materials that will be added next to it at the beginning of each round. So at the beginning of the first round, you're going to add 1 piece of wood here, 3 pieces of wood here, 1 stone, 2 stone. 1 border piece will be placed here, and the border pieces work as a clock for the game. We have a total of 9 rounds, and we have a total of 9 borders. So once the 9th border piece is placed here, that would signify the beginning of the last round. Now, in this location here is how you're going to actually acquire your animals. At the beginning, you're going to place 1 reed here, a pig, a horse, and a cow. And the way that these work is that if nobody claims any of these, you're going to add whatever is in the parentheses listed next to it. So for instance, this horse here, if nobody claims it and the horse is still there at the beginning of the next round, you would then add a sheep. And sheep would keep being added to that location until somebody finally claims them. Once that occurs, then a horse would be added back at the beginning of the round. That same would work here for sheep and the same here for pigs.
You're going to put your resources, your animals, your expansions, and your feeding troughs off to the side, along with your extra border pieces, which are used to keep track of the rounds.
Next, take your 4 stable tiles, and you're going to place them down at the bottom of the board in a stack, along with the 4 other unique buildings.
Okay, now it's time to determine who the first player is. So we're going to flip this coin, and this will be Tim, and this would be me.
At the start of the game, the only thing you're going to have is this player board here with a cottage that can only hold 1 animal. How are you going to be able to get more animals? Well, to be able to do that, you're going to have to build fences or build stables or to be able to do buildings, special ones. Why don't we demonstrate how that would work by looking at the actual board itself? On your turn, you're going to be able to place 1 of your workers on one of the open available spaces, and you're going to alternate with your opponent. So for instance, if I choose to take a spot and take the materials or the resources, then my opponent would then choose a spot that they're going to take, and you're going to alternate, and then you're going to take a turn, blah, blah, blah. But why don't we cover each one of these spaces and how they work real quick so that you understand. This space right here would allow you to take however many wood pieces are available at this spot, plus you're going to be able to take the first player token so that you can be first player on the next turn. You're going to add these wood pieces to your resources in your supply. This spot here would just give you 3 pieces of wood. This one here would give you 1 stone, and this one here 2 pieces of stone. This spot right here would allow you to take however many one of these borders are laying here at this turn. Remember, there's a total of 8 rounds, so possibly there could be 1 all the way to 3 to even 8 borders that are there. But you would take them all, add them to your supply, plus you will take 1 expansion that's located up here. Whenever you take an expansion, you can instantly add it to your player board to either side that you choose. Once put on there, it'll stay there permanently. Going back to the board, though, we'll see that this spot here would allow you to gain 1 wood, 1 stone, and 1 reed. And you would take these out of the supply and add them to yours, or out of the bank and add them to your supply. This space right here would then allow you to build fences. Fences are essential because it's the only way you're going to be able to store animals. So for instance, remember we can get borders or fence pieces from here by taking this spot, but you also start the game with some fence pieces that you have in your own supply. You get 9 of them at the start of the game. What this would allow you to do is to take 2 of them, and you can place them anywhere that you like, surrounding these squares that are located on your farm. Once you create a complete border set here, or an enclosure, it becomes a pasture. Each pasture can hold 2 animals of the same species, no more. The only way that you're going to be able to add more animals is if you try to build a feeding trough, but we'll cover that here in just a second. We'll put those animals back. We'll take those fences off. Let's go back over to the player board. It says you can build 2 free, and then you can also build as many of you borders that you like for 2 stone apiece. So this is a little bit expensive. Unlike this one here, which allows you to build as many border pieces or fence pieces as you like on your player board for as many pieces of wood that you have in your supply. Down here would allow you to build a stall. A stall is located right down here. And the way that you would do this is that you would pay the cost that's listed above here, which would happen to be 3 stone and 1 reed. Take the stall and you're going to add it to your player board anywhere that you like on your player board. So for instance, I can place it right there. Now one thing you're going to notice is first off, is that this stall has a yellow border, just like your cottage here at the start of the game. What that means is that it is a built-in border for you to be able to try to build fences around. So for instance, you don't have to build a fence piece there and there. It's already there with these buildings. So it helps you to try to create enclosures quicker or pastures faster. The other thing that a stall allows you to do is down here in the corner, it tells you that it'll help you store more animals. So in this case, this stall would allow you to store 3 animals. Now remember though, it's important to keep in mind only animals of the same type can be stored together. So you can't mix your pigs with cows. That would be illegal. And then if you ever decide, you can upgrade this stall by using this action space right here on the player board, which allows you for either 5 wood or for 5 stone, you can flip this stall over. And then it becomes a stable. Now what a stable does is it allows you to store 5 animals. But it's also worth 4 victory points compared to the stall, which was worth only 1 victory point. Let's place this back over to here. And let's check out this spot on the board here. These are feeding troughs. Feeding troughs allow you to store double the capacity of animals in wherever they're located. So for instance, if this feeding trough was stored onto this stall, it would then double the capacity of the stall. So for instance, instead of only 3 animals, it could hold 6.
Yay, I stacked all the horses, I win!
You do know that's not how you win. In fact, you could have used this little thing. It represents 4 horses.
But that's so unrealistic.
If this was stored on one of your pastures, it would then allow you to store, instead of just 2 animals, you could store 4 animals. Remember though, all of the same type. Don't be mixing your animals. Now, you're also able to build as many feeding troughs as you like for 3 wood apiece. This space right here allows you to build the special buildings. There are 4 total special buildings, and each one of them has a unique special thing that they allow you to do. For instance, the open stables, which is just like the stall and the stables here, but it just gives you 2 victory points, and it will immediately allow you to gain either a cow or a horse. Speaking of the buildings, there's already been a couple of expansions released for this game. The first one was called More Buildings Big and Small, and the second expansion is called Even More Buildings Big and Small, and they're appropriately named because that's exactly what they've done. They've added more building tiles for you to choose from. Now, don't feel like that this is necessary for you to immediately rush out and purchase, because the base game itself is going to give you plenty of enjoyment. Carmen and I have easily 30 plus games in with just the base game. But we do own both of these expansions because there is a lot of variety of buildings that it does add to the game.
Now let's take a look at the breeding phase of the game. Now during the breeding phase, if you have at least 2 animals of the same type, they're going to make a baby. So I'm going to get a baby sheep, and a baby horse, and a baby cow. So I need to make room for these. The cow fits just fine. There is no room for this horse or this sheep here. So I'm going to have to choose between them, put one in my cottage, and the other one runs away. Bah.
All right, plenty of room to put my horse, my cow, and my pig, and oh no, I don't have a spot for this extra sheep. You can put me with the other sheep. It talks. You can't go there. Look, I've only got 1 feeding trough. There's already 4 of each one of you guys on these squares. You can't fit. Look, I don't have a spot for you. I'll be with the cows then. You can't
you can't be with the cows either because, look, you can't mix animals. Only one species of animal per location. It's sheep or nothing. I can be with pigs. Look, I can be a pig. Look, you can't be a pig. Listen, you gotta go. She's gonna notice that you're with the pigs. You don't look nothing like a pig. We can try.
Are you ready? You done?
Yeah. I believe you're first this round.
So, gonna keep that sheep in with the pigs?
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. Thought he looked like a pig. Yeah. You're gonna have to go. I don't want to go.
Who are you talking to?
No one? It's your turn. Go. Okay, the final round has ended, and it's time to figure up your score to see who won.
In scoring on Agricola, what you're going to do is you're going to first count up how many animals that you have, and you're going to score 1 point for each one of them. So for instance, I have a total of 5 sheep here, plus an additional, looks like 6 here, so I have 11 sheep. We have a little score pad here to where I can keep track of it, and I can write down just right here to the right of the sheep icon that I have 11 sheep, working down through the pigs, the cows, and the horses. Now you will get an additional bonus if you do breed a certain amount of animals. So for instance, like with the sheep that I have 11 of them, if I would have breeded more than 13, I'd have gotten additional bonus points for them as well. Then what we'll do is we'll get bonus points even beyond that for each type of animal, and that's all listed here on the side of the box. So for instance, I had 11 sheep, so I go over here, I look up, that gives me 2 additional bonus points that I'm going to just put on my little score pad as well. Working down again, this icon here means that for each expansion, which I have 1 expansion, and as long as it's full, what that means is that it's completely enclosed, and it is, I would score 4 victory points for each one of my farm expansions. So in this case, I would get 4 points. Last but not least, you're going to score bonus points based upon your building values. So for instance, this stable here is worth 4 points, and this stall is worth 1. So I'd get a total of 5 points. Both players will calculate their score. Whoever has the highest score is the best farmer in the world.
I'm going to have to say, if there was one 2-player game to recommend, this would be it. We enjoy it so much that every time we get it out, we play more than once. In fact, we've been playing it up a storm lately, which is why we decided to do this video. It's always enjoyable. Even if I lose, you know, I really feel like I accomplished something in meeting my own goals.
One thing about this game is that it feels like you're never accomplishing anything throughout the entire process. You feel like you're never getting enough done. Sure, you made this enclosure, now you've got this pasture where you're going to be able to move your animals. Sure, you're able to do this and you're able to do that, but you still don't feel like you have such a limited number of actions is what I'm getting at. A limited number of resources. But by the time the game is over, you're counting up your score and you're looking at your farm that you built and you have this sense of, wow, I did that. And you feel proud about it.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our second episode of Games You Might Not Be Playing.
But you should. Now, this game, we hope we expressed enough that how much we enjoy it. It's become one of our favorite 2-player games. And we don't know if you're familiar with Agricola, the base regular set, but this one has really taken everything that was fun about Agricola and, well, it just made it into its own little game.
It really made it a lot simpler. I mean, Agricola's a little intimidating, even just setting it up and tearing it down. It takes a lot more work than this game. So this one gets played a lot more often in our house.
Yeah, and instead of dealing with cards and having to feed people, you just get to breed a bunch of animals. And that's a lot of fun. That to me, that's what was always so much fun about Agricola, is breeding the animals, getting animals, and feeding the people was always such a burden. So.
Well, actually, I kind of like feeding my people because then they can eat the animals. That part was kind of fun.
That's why she breeds pigs and cows. She likes making
bacon cheeseburgers.
Bacon cheeseburgers. And then you use sheep for the milk, yeah.
If there's a tip I could give you about this game is that it's about the animals. Don't get sidetracked.
Yeah.
Just keep your farm at max capacity as much as you can.
You'd be surprised when you think you can't make room. I mean, animals do run away, and that's the saddest part of the game is animals will run away. But it prevents your opponent from getting them, number one. And number two, you'll be surprised with how many times you'll be able to squeeze that last animal.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed this video. And hey, this is a fantastic two-player game. We highly recommend you guys check this one out.
And don't forget, if there's a game that you would like us to cover and games you might not be playing but you should, let us know.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.